Welcome back, race fans, to another episode of Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation. We have a little bit of a plot twist for you today. It is Mandy and I. We don't have another guest. It's just the two of us talking about, our last 2 weeks worth of excitement in the ultra running world and all things travel, training, racing, pacing, snow, rain, mud, sunshine, all the things, right?
There's so much to talk about. So we were like, let's just take an episode of just back and forth and change it up a little bit. And I have a dope new running hat to show off too.
Running is dope.
Running is dope.
That's what it says. If you're not watching.
My kids are not impressed by it, by the way. So I'm going to wear it every day until they stop making comments.
Oh, if I was your kid, I'd put a Y at the end and like running is dopey.
I love that.
Anyway, Mandy, you just came back from a big old conference. I want to say it was in Tennessee, in Bell Buckle. Was it right near like Laz's little stomping grounds?
Yeah, close. It was in Knoxville.
Oh, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Beautiful this time of year. Yeah, second time it was the U.S. Trail Running Conference. Second time it was held in Knoxville. Last time, next year, it's being taken over by Ultra Sign Up and moving to Nashville. So that'll be super fun. But we did go to Frozen Head, took a trip down there with a couple of people. We might have been a little late to the conference one day on accident because we drove 45 minutes to go and do a little 6-mile run, visit the Yellow Gate.
It's kind of like your SOP, though. I remember going to USCA with you, and you kind of rolled in and out freely of the conference.
When you're traveling for work, you have to mix in the vacation aspect. And if you're somewhere cool and you're like trails are there that you've never run before, I don't know, just come and go. It was funny though, because I went with, so it was myself and Peter Downing and Dale Garland and Rachel Downey, who we interviewed, who took third at Leadville, and then Alex Ross from the Colfax Marathon. And we were all like, we should go to the state park tomorrow and go run. And Dan, who's the media director for Hard Rock too. And so we all went, and then we got back, we missed the first session, and we were like, we probably shouldn't all walk in together. Let's like trickle back into the conference together to not cause a scene. But it was worth it. Sorry to the first presenter we missed. But yeah, US Trail Conference, super fun, just mingling with other race directors, sharing a lot of camaraderie, ideas, tons of laughter. Yeah, really just being there to try to support you guys, runners and coaches in the sport. What's trending, what's new, and how can we do better as race directors? So it's cool. My cup is full.
My previous work experience in Parks and Recreation, I was the recreation director for some small towns here in the Western Slope. We had an annual Parks and Recreation conference, and I loved going to it. It was really about networking and just connecting with people and making those connections so we could reach out after the fact. And we did really do that in those conferences. And I missed that even from USCA, not having a conference this year. I missed the coaches conference. I think it was 2 or 3 years we had that, but it sounded like it wasn't going to happen this year. And hopefully it's on the table for future. What I do remember is the connections, but also like there were some like key takeaways. So do you have any key takeaways you could share with us from your own experience?
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing was, and I actually got to present on this topic, but there's a lot of change in the industry with partnerships and sponsorships. And so a lot of runners, when you're out there and you think that when you paid your race entry fee, the race director's just keeping all that money, it's not always the case. And in fact, we actually need more than your race entry fee to put races on. So a lot of times we used to call them sponsorships, and we're kind of changing the language to partnership. Those are key in making our races happen. And just a lot of changes in who's partnering with races. It's no longer just a bank that's going to write the race director a check so they put a logo on a website and walk away. Whether it's product partnerships or financial partnerships, we're seeing a trend that our partners who are looking to invest in our races, whether it's donating product for the start and finish line or course or financial assistance, they're looking to connect with races and their runners, their race director, their nonprofit, whatever it might be, on more of a cause. So there was a lot of discussion there, which was pretty cool. And like, how do we continue to grow the sport and make it a community-focused event? So that was a lot of fun to talk about. Of course, there's always conversations about inclusion, right? How do we make sure that our underserved populations, our minority populations are included in the sport, and we remove as many barriers as we can? I love that sentiment of this conference. And you can take bits and pieces of that as a race organization and do with it what you will. But I think that awareness of making sure everyone feels welcome, safe, and included in this space is really important. Yeah, so those were cool takeaways. A lot of things in technology. AI is changing and how that impacts our races and making sure we're doing that stuff in a smart way. A lot. It was 8 hours every day outside of when we were out running trails.
Except for what you missed, right, Mandy?
Except for what we missed. I know everyone else that went with me is probably like, why'd you come live with that? But everyone did it. You can't be in a conference room the whole time. But no, but a lot of collaboration, a lot of fun, just nerding out, and Brian, Ultra Sign Up is taking it over. I had a conversation with their leadership there and kind of mentioned we missed the USCA conference from a coaching perspective. And can we bring a track into the race directors? And then bigger discussion, is there a world one day where we've got this big conference going on where we unite runners, race directors, and run coaches? Whoa, that's kind of a lot. But I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
It's got to be a weekend that no one's racing. I mean, because if everyone's going to be there, who's going to be racing?
Yeah, like it's all going to shut down. That's a good point. Yeah, it was good. And you
I love that.
You spent it on the coach side.
Yeah, that's right. I'll segue with it as well from your experiences. I love that you guys are talking about inclusion, and I was just at the Moab 240 for a bunch of days, from the start all the way through till Tuesday afternoon when I had a race back for high school cross country practice at 3:00, 3 hours away from Moab where I live. So I was there the whole time. I worked an aid station at a Masaback mile 17 with my friends Mark and Leanne, who were the captains of that. We had a blast. They had a pink pony theme. And
your costumes were unhinged.
And it got a little wild out. I was, and it's really, Moab is like a motorhead type of town. They got a lot of side-by-sides and dirt bikers, and we didn't look the part in the middle of nowhere dressed in the Pink Pony Club outfits. But we had a blast. It was super fun. I flipped way too many burgers, but I loved every second of it. But where I was going with the segue is that I did notice there's just a lot more inclusion, even at the 240-mile distance, just a lot more inclusion. It is not the old white guy sport anymore. And I love it, and I'm here for that. And I think that's well needed. Nothing against old white guys, but whatever. We're a more diverse community than we've ever been, and I love that you guys are talking about that at the race director level as well.
Yeah, and I guess this would be my encouragement, that there should be communication between, for sure, these are three primary parties in the industry, right? The race directors, the coaches, and the athlete. But I think part of the conversation was encouraging each other to talk about that, right? So like your runner should be included to talk to you about their experience at a race, whether they had an issue with that or an idea or ways we can do better. And you as a run coach or that athlete should feel encouraged to take that to the race director. And of course, in a positive, respectful way, right? You guys don't go to Google and start like blasting everybody or Reddit in a non-productive way. But I think you're probably seeing that, Brian, because we're just encouraging more conversation. But it has to be respectful, and it has to be, put out there in the right way for it to be received in the right way. But I'm glad you're noticing that.
Moab 240 is like the tip of the spear, one of the longer races in the summer series here. I guess it's fall really, but anyway, but one of the longer races on the calendar. And I've been in the space for a while, and I've raced it myself in the past. I've volunteered at some form and or raced it since 2017 when it first was on the calendar. And it's interesting. So I know a lot of the regular faces, but again, with that inclusion, I saw a lot of new faces, which was encouraging as well. So we're evolving. It's not the same 85 people, although there was probably 85 repeats there for sure. But anyway, yeah. I paced two of my athletes. I paced Michael from Dry Valley to Road 46. It's a 27-mile stretch, really runnable. And man, we had a blast. We had the only sunny day on Sunday. It was completely sunny and dry. A little chill because there was some moisture in the air still. So it was actually really great running weather. But Michael and I had a blast. We ran all 27 miles and had a great time. Got some really good photos just earlier this morning that Michael shared with me from that moment, from some of the race photographers. We did see Anastasia out there. She was on a previous episode talking about race photography, and the whole team of Destination Trails photographers were just amazing all over the course. Then 24 hours later, I paced Jeffrey over from Road 46 over into the LaSalle's into Geyser Pass. And that was the section that if you followed any of it or heard anything about it on social media, that was like the muddy section late in the race. It wasn't Shea Mountain muddy like in the start where everyone got some, but later in the race, it became super slick and snotty and muddy. It rained on us all night long. I think I was out there 16 and a half hours for that 30-mile section, and it was challenging. I'm usually pretty good about like not complaining and trying to keep the spirits up, but I had a bite my tongue and not complain to Jeffrey, who was at mile 180 when I was at mile 10, and it was raining continuously for the last 3 hours, and what didn't look like it was going to let up at all. So
It's
I know
wild.
it was bad. If I was fighting my way through not complaining, I know it was pretty bad.
You're just under your breath, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
My
you
gosh. Yeah.
volunteer in between those two? Like, were you back at the aid station volunteering, or did you get a rest in between your two?
No, I went back to town and kind of just was watching trackers and took a good break. I feel like I didn't do any organized volunteering. I was helping out my friends at an aid station, so I wasn't on the volunteer list by any means, or I never got a shirt for volunteering. I was just having a good time with my friends that could use that extra hand. So yeah, it was fun though.
Okay.
Yeah, watching the tracker in town, and I was drying out. Like it was rainy and nasty and windy and cold, so I was just kind of like hiding in the dry spaces and waiting to see the trackers come through. So
yeah, that's wild. It looked
yeah.
rainy. Looked rainy the whole time.
It was, yeah. Both were successful, had great finishes, and really showed some grit in getting it done in those conditions. I know I was saying I tried not to complain, but I was also thinking, like, if this was my year, if I was out here, like, would I have been able to survive it? It would have been challenging because they just got rained on, like, just over and over and over again. And then the water, if it wasn't raining, everything was flooded, and there was just standing water or moving water in these dry creek beds. That someone at the aid station, after I said that like 4 times, they corrected me and said, just stop saying dry because they're not dry.
It's wet.
But every other year they've been dry.
Wet shoe at you.
For the last decade,
it's been a
dry. Yeah. And for the last decade, it's been a dry riverbed, and now it's like soaked with water and like flooding. So not so fun. But yeah, a great time was had at Moab. Killian Korth won the dang thing, like by a long shot, and really pushed hard at the end, the last 40 miles. We had him on a previous episode as well. I think it was 72, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, just really impressive. He won the Triple Crown overall. He won all 3 races individually for the overall win, and the new course record for the Triple Crown, which he took from Michael McKnight. And I paced Michael McKnight over the LaSalle's in 2017 in the inaugural year. So just a weird, small world in this vast ultra running community.
Yeah, what was it? 156 for Killian, McKnight 162. Does that sound right? I think
somewhere in there.
So
it's not apples to apples. The Moab course has changed. It's gotten a little bit longer, a little more climbing in it, just because they needed to make it legitimate. 240, I think it was a little shy in the past. So the last 2 years it's changed. So maybe not apples to apples. I'm not quite sure about the other courses as well. I think Michael McKnight might have ran the circumnavigation of Tahoe, and I think because of the fire in 2021, we're still on the out and back at Tahoe now, currently, or we have been. So not apples to apples, but yes, but much faster.
Either way, yeah, it was fun to watch back home. I was texting Conrad. So Conrad is Killian's brother who's pacing him and trying to get a clue of like, okay, he's got this 2-hour, 3-hour lead. Is he going to keep it? You're just kind of like waiting for what's going to happen. And it was remarkable just to watch that consistency throughout the end, really. And Conrad was sending pictures of him and he's like, nope, not slowing down. Like no matter how bad he might be feeling, he's not letting on and he's strong. So it's, Killian, and he's I saw this morning on Instagram, he's back out and running laps around his block with his dog and getting right back to training.
Yeah, he's put a lot of posts up lately, post Moab, and they're I think it's great. I think it's great content. It's good to kind of see what the front of the race does for recovery. He was out walking the dog earlier in the week as a recovery walk. He was explaining that it's great just to loosen up the fascia and get the muscles, fresh blood, and just kind of get moving a little bit. It's easy to, lick your wounds on the couch, but man, you're just going to get more stiff. So keeping an active recovery going was in his process. He was doing some band work too in a gym. I think it's in his garage. It looked like it was in his garage. Yeah. And he's a Colorado guy in Grand Junction. So we're really happy for Killian. It was a great performance.
Good job, Killian.
Have you been watching Biggs at all, or Biggs Backyard? The big 72 of the toughest individuals in the world coming out to Biggs Backyard to race 4 miles every hour. Have you been following this thing?
Yeah, I've been following it, I think mostly on Instagram. So I need to tune into the live feed. But I don't know if you saw the video. One of the runners was coming in, I think it was lap 50, 57, I think. And Harvey, so it's his name was Vadam probably. Vadam is coming through. He crosses the mat with like 4 seconds to go. And Harvey reaches across and pulls his arm back in because if he wouldn't have like come back into the chute when the bell rang, he would have been out. And so that's kind of gone viral. I'm sure if you haven't seen it yet, just probably Google it. But it was a cool just show of camaraderie and what the sport is all about.
Good
and just really
sportsmanship,
cool.
right? Yeah, it's
yeah. And it's like those tiny little mistakes in a competition. Like Vada might have had no idea like how close he was and he's exhausted and kind of stumbling over. He might have been like slowly moseyed over and then missed getting back out for that next lap. So I tuned in after that. Yeah, where are we at updates wise? We're 7 left, maybe. Give you
There's
a live
7
update.
left. There's no females left. Sarah Perry went to lap 95, which is completely crazy and impressive. I think it's the new women's record. And Meg Eckert was right before her at lap 92. And so, they both exceeded the 88, I believe, that Megan owned prior to that, Megan Eckert. Yeah, super impressive on the girls' front. 7 guys still in there. I think it's Phil and Harvey are still chomping at the bit, and I believe those two have the previous furthest distances covered at 119 and 118, respectively. So yeah, it's just ramping up, and they're at 101 right now, 101. So we got basically another day to tune in and kind of see what happens. So no rush. Don't jump on the computer just yet, but check it out tonight if you're. I guess it's Wednesday night here while we're recording. So check it out as soon as you can. I'm sure the results will be up by the time you get to listen to this.
Yeah, it's impressive. Have you done a backyard style, Brian?
I did in my friend's driveway. It was about 6 of us. It was super low key, and it is totally not for me. Like I would never. That format just does not suit me. I really respect it, but I don't like running for 50 minutes and then stopping for 10. Like I don't. My momentum doesn't come back. Like once I get going, I just want to keep like the autopilot on, the cruise control on, right? And I want to just keep rolling it. 10-minute miles, for a long time. I don't want to have to stop for 12 minutes every hour. I mean, I like to stop, but I'd rather run for 3 hours and then do it, then stop, So just not my format. How about yourself?
No, I haven't. I mean, I crewed when Nick did. He was the assist across the years last year, but I don't think I've done it. I've done like 4x4x48, but that's different because it's just fun and you have, whatever, plenty of time. So I think same with you. I think it would stress me out to be on someone else's timeline. I like the concept of being able to stop to refuel, but I don't know though. You know what they say, if you're not good at something, you don't like something, all the more reason to do it. So maybe across the years, you can just sign up for that, compete against Nick.
I'm good.
I didn't think about that too long.
Thinking of across the years, I think we were just saying offline, I think that's where I'll see you next, if not sooner. Oh, I might be coming out before then to my sister-in-law's neighborhood before then. But if not, across the years is kind of my next thing. I don't know if it's your next thing as well, but potentially I might be running the 100, and I was going to try to start on January 1st at 8 a.m. I was also going to do maybe the Badwater Virtual 267. And if I did the 100 starting on January 1st, then I would knock out 100 miles earlier. But really, I need to go get my dang foot checked out again, just to kind of make sure that we're still on track. I need to get back into the gym and do the PT and the strength training and kind of and give this a real go before I pursue other options, such as surgery or something else that'll put me out for a little bit longer. So no real commitment to racing or running at across the years, but I'll definitely be there in some form, volunteering, hanging out. I got the weekend hall pass to go come down to Arizona and hang out with my running community. So I'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to go back. I don't know if I'll run. I probably will. I got to check in with my run coach and see what he wants me to do over that extended period of time. So I guess
that guy sounds like a slave driver.
He tried to murder me this morning. I text him, and spoiler alert, it's Brian. I text him and I was like, I'll see you for our podcast recording unless I get murdered by this workout and I'm dead on the side of the trail. But I'm here. I survived. I loved my speed workout. It's funny that I've gone a couple years without doing speed work, and I've just moseyed on through running slow and long to get through my ultras that I've completed. And now I'm like, it's just that sense of empowerment of like, whoa, I could probably perform better if I actually followed workouts and followed a plan. So plug for hiring a run coach, and Brian's really good. But yeah, it was fun. I got my run in, and
you got a little nervous. You got a little nervous. And you're starting to move down the list at Cocodona, that you're getting into the double digits. You're out of the hundreds, I think.
91.
And so you're there, and so you're in that pickle, right? And I get a lot of athletes that way. They get stuck between like this is coming up and I better do something about it. And what I'm doing right now isn't working that well. So yeah,
Yes.
I get a ton of athletes in that same category. So
yeah, it's fun.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to talk about Camille Herron for a second.
Yeah.
So
All right,
let's
we're
move
gonna
on.
move on.
Let's
Let's
move
that
on
topic's been covered.
to let's move on to the Bagman. I know I saw the Bagman. He was at Big's backyard. I think he's a Japanese runner, and he doesn't like to carry a vest, but he carries like this sleeve, like a bag, and he's got 3 of them that he rotates through, and he drops his snacks and his water bottle into this little satchel, like a long. It looks just like the quiver on your pack, and
does it
he
seal
runs
at
with
the
it.
top?
Yeah, he's got like a little drawstring.
Okay.
And then he grabs the top like in a fist, and then he runs with his bag swinging in his hand, and maybe curls it up a little bit sometimes too. But he got a little notoriety in the social media front of being the bag man, and he was pretty big in the chat at Biggs as well. So, but he did eventually call it quits and is now no longer on the course. So who knows if it worked for him? But
how far did he make it with the bag?
I don't know how far Bagman made it. I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Just our sport has evolved so much, probably even since when you started to, but even before then, Brian, I was talking to Peter from Suffer Better about the early days of running Leadville, and he's like, man, we didn't even have packs. He's like, we had, he told me what it was, and I can't remember, like some form of really crappy Gatorade and a peanut butter and jelly. He's like, there weren't gels or goos or. He's like, we would just leave that stuff in the car. And if you wanted to carry your drink with you, you carried the hard water bottle full of the drink that was the drink. So kudos to Bagman, bringing back the old ways of carrying.
It's funny because I think our sport is at a turning point, Mandy, and hear me out. I think we need an ultra running museum. Like we need to bring that gear back, like the old school fanny bag. Like we need to ask like the old timers to go in the basement and dig out their race bib and their water bottle from the 1984 Leadville Trail 100. Like we want the old timers to pull it out and stick it in our ultra running museum. I think that'd be a good play. I don't know where it would live. We'd have to find a common ground somewhere.
There's going to be a fight over the common ground of where that lives. But I'm surprised that doesn't exist. Surely there's something somewhere. Yeah. If you are listening,
you heard it here first.
Exhibit,
you heard it here first. I own a little bit of it.
This was Brian's idea. I'm just going to tag in on it.
There's got to be Mandy, you get 2% for being here.
Taking the time. I love that idea. Yeah. I mean, I think there are people that would contribute to it. There's some of these guys that don't run anymore. Surely they're dying to be like, back in my day, we used to run
it'd be full of? I mean, I know I'm joking, obviously, in some sort of fashion, but it'd be full of like some gear. But it'd really be full of like the evolution of the buckle, right? We would see just all the buckles from different years. Like Leadville's buckle actually used to be really small. I have one of the original buckles from 1983. 1983 and 1984 were one set of buckle before they made a new cast for the 1985 buckle. Don't ask me how I know all these things, but I do. And I have one of the original buckles from the first inaugural 2 years that it happened. So, but it was really modest and not too flashy, and so we've evolved. So it'd be interesting in this museum to see the evolution of each race's buckles or awards of however they celebrate the achievement of finishing something.
Well, I was going to say the people that received those original belt buckles that were like 2-3 inches in diameter would be appalled, and probably are appalled that now we give out like 6-inch diameter like medals for people that finish a 5K.
Yeah. My 1,000-mile buckle right here. I mean, you could see this across the football field and read the letters on it. I mean, it's so dang obnoxious.
So when I looked at Google Earth to see like where you were doing your track workouts at, it actually like you can see it.
Yeah,
like it's Google Earth
reflected back. It
picks it all up. Like, oh, that must be Brian's 10-year belt buckle. Speaking of 10-year belt buckle, I finally got some time to watch the documentary last night with the family.
Yeah? Nice. What'd you think?
You are YouTube famous, and I was in there for.
I saw you at the finish line.
10 seconds.
Two times you were in there, right?
2 times I was in there. Yeah. It was awesome. It's really cool. So tell our listeners where to find it. What's it called?
It's interesting. Simon and Nora made a documentary, just to kind of back up. It is found on Simon's channel, Ultra Running with Simon on YouTube. And it is called 1,000 Miles to Sobriety is sort of the main gist of it. And then it's 1,000 Miles to Sobriety, a Leadville Story is the full name of the documentary. And Simon and Nora came out a couple days early. They camped with me and my family off grid at Leadville for this year's 10-year race. And I guess, spoiler alert, you could see the buckle right there. So you kind of know I finished it, I guess, and we just talked about it. But it follows my 10-year attempt this year, just a few weeks ago in August. But it also talks about my sobriety journey. It kind of shares in the community of my smaller community inside of this larger community of ultra running. My good friend Mark is the crew chief, and he's been at every Leadville that I've ever done and the ones I haven't. And if he wasn't racing, pacing, or crewing, we were volunteering somewhere. So, yeah, we haven't missed one since 2010, one Leadville, except for the COVID year that everyone missed. So
Yeah, it was good. I'm watching Mark and your guys' interaction. It was pretty entertaining, and I think it shows what you need to get through something like that, but super cool and special if you can have the same person year after year. Like we were laughing so hard when he was trying to feed you, I think, a quesadilla. And he's and like getting to know you and your personality, like he makes a comment about like if Brian wants something or doesn't want something, then that is what Brian is going to get. And he's trying to force you to eat something and you're like, no. And he's like, pretty please, just a little bit. No. You know, do you want me to make airplane sounds, choo-choo sounds? So it's a good one. It was very entertaining to watch the back end of those interactions.
Yeah, Simon and Nora took so much footage that it was overwhelming, but they put it together in such a great storyline that it really fits a good story. It is 47 minutes long, longer than I could ever have anticipated. And they laid it out in a really thoughtful way, and it just makes some really good sense. And it was really cool, obviously, to be a part of it and special. And on the receiving end of it, the outreach since the video came out has been just awesome. It's everywhere though. They're coming from all platforms, and some are emailing me directly, some are hitting me up on Instagram. I saw one come through like LinkedIn, but I don't really check LinkedIn that often, if I'm being honest. So it was just kind of like, I was like, oh, I got this message from LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, just another LinkedIn ad. But then I opened it up and it was a guy that was sharing that, oh, I've been on a sobriety journey and watching you makes me want to run again. So just the interaction between sobriety and ultra running, where people are just interacting with it's been really special. The outreach has been awesome. And so it came out, gosh, today's Wednesday. So it came out less than a week ago, came out last Thursday evening. It does live on YouTube on Simon's channel, Ultra Running with Simon. And yeah, if you got the time, we'd love for you to watch it.
Yeah, and I watched it with my kids. They're 13 and 11. Whoa, crazy. So we talk about this a lot. They grow up in this sport and they've been at Leadville with us before when we've run or when we've crewed and paced. And so it was really magical to watch it with them. So I don't think there's anything in there that isn't age appropriate for anyone.
A couple cuss words, but man,
maybe
my kids have heard them all.
Leave it in the movie word. So if you're a parent and you're interested, maybe watch it first. But then I think it just goes back to, I think it's cool for kids to see that. And I think for Brian to be so authentic in it of like, hey, I was struggling. I made some bad decisions and this is how I pivoted. It reminds our kids it's okay to be human and it's never too late to change your trajectory. Because Brian, I know you struggled as a youth and then you found your way to the Marines and kind of straightened your life out, and then it seems like maybe drinking took its toll on you and reverted back, and then came back and found ultra running as you went cold turkey. And so I love that part of the story of it's never too late. And honestly, like today while I was running, I even applied like that same mentality of the last couple of years. I kind of gave up on my Boston qualifying goals and I gave up on running fast and was like, I'm just going to be a slow, long ultra runner and get it done. And then I was running and I thought of you and I thought like, well, Mandy, it's not too late. You just turned 40. You could still get faster. You can still do these hard workouts and go back to those other dreams. Like it's just never too late, no matter what it is. And I think that's the magical part that I took away from the story. For sure.
Oh, great. I appreciate that. It's again, the outreach has been just simply amazing. It's crazy the way I was sharing with you offline, but I kind of thought it was just going to stay in this small niche of ultra running and Simon's channel. He does have a big channel, probably like 40,000 followers or something like that. But I thought it would just stay in this small niche space. But people that aren't runners and are on a sobriety journey, or the vice versa, there are runners and they are exploring a sobriety journey. Both ends of it and in all aspects are just reaching out. So it's been phenomenal outreach. So yeah, really appreciate it. My daughter's in it and I got to share it with my family too. So we actually haven't watched it as a family. I was down here at the studio on the live premiere while my family was upstairs in the living room watching it on the big screen. So it was just kind of funny. But one of the final stories about it is that I coach high school cross country, and one of the parents of the kids that I coach watched it and said, what a great message, because she thought it was just a great message. So I'm really happy that the movie turned out that way. Simon and Nora, again, did a phenomenal job with it. And yeah, it was kudos to them for sure.
I'm curious, I'm sure you guys talked about this, but what if you, and maybe I was a part of the conversation, but what if you wouldn't have finished? Then what would have happened with the film? Like, would it have just told that story and told it in the way that it unfolded?
I mean, I was the main character, right? So I don't know what their plan was, but I think there's still a story there about struggle and challenge. And yeah, I was successful and I finished my 10th Leadville this year. But I even say it in the video, I've been unsuccessful at Leadville as well, and at other races. Actually, in this past year, the last race I finished was Leadville of 2024. So I've had 2 DNFs leading into Leadville. So of course, I got this camera crew following me around and taking videos, and they're my friends, fortunately, so I know who they are. But also, like, I haven't finished anything in a full year. Like, I DNF'd Moab in 2024 at mile 70, and I DNF'd Old Dominion at 87 miles in with just 14 miles to go. I was going to run out of time, and it was the right decision. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to finish in the 28-hour cutoff at Old Dominion. So just kind of knowing those things, that can like get under your skin and kind of weigh on you. Like it weighed on me. I just didn't know if like, man, do I still have it? Am I really capable of this anymore? Am I just kind of washed up? And going back to age, I'm 51. I know there was a lot more 51-year-olds on the starting line as well, and they're not thinking that, or maybe they are, but it was the thought in my head, even with the experiences that I have had of 9 other finishes at Leadville.
Yeah, that coupled with now I've got my friends here, my crew, and they're filming me. That's a lot of pressure. You're not
Yeah, I
just
didn't
out
really
there.
feel that much pressure. I mean,
That's good.
I tried not to, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is I tried not to focus on that. I just needed to go and get the work done. And I was tight, and you'll see it in the video. I was pushing up against cutoffs, and I was tight. And to go back to me getting my foot checked out and wanting to see, I normally don't see myself in videos running. Like, it's just not a thing. Like, I'm not that guy on YouTube that like videos myself and puts all these videos up of me running. So
You don't have a drone?
to watch myself running, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have a pretty bad limp. Like, I need to get my foot checked out. Like it's pretty bad. Like, it was bad early too in Leadville movie. And I was like, oh man, like I definitely need to go get this checked out. In my head, I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. It's probably not even noticeable. It's painful, but I could work through it. But when I watch myself back on video, I'm like, wow, that's a bad limp.
Yeah. Well, now you have that awareness. Go get it checked out. See what's next.
Yeah, I just got to do the things to make it better, right? I mean,
you're a coach. Do it. Put it in your plan.
You should be my coach.
No, I do not have time for that.
It's not because I'm needy or I have a lot of needs to
No.
take all your time. You just don't have time to coach in general. Let's just clear that.
In general, nothing to do with you. I am taking on one coach client. She's one of my best friends. When I first met her, we moved in next door to each other in Windsor, and it's a funny story because I was sitting on the front porch watching all our kids play in the cul-de-sac, and I was hand drawing the Run Windsor logo, and like actually came up with like the mountains and the Run Windsor and how it looked. And she came and sat next to me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm starting a business. I'm going to start a run club and coach people." And she was like, "Hell no, never running, never ever gonna run. That's ridiculous, but I will support you." Well, fast forward, what's it been? 8 years? And now she has run so many of my 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And a few months ago was like, it's time for another half marathon, but I need like a training plan. I need you to help me. She's a school teacher. And so I'm writing her a training plan for our half marathon that we put on in March. And so I'm really excited. It's just fun too. Every time we talk about running, I'm like, do you remember when you sat next to me and you said, "Hell no, never, I'm going to run." And then here you are running several half marathons a year. Someday I'm going to get her to a full. I know
someday.
Yeah.
It's a logical progression. Yeah, it's a logical progression.
Yeah, she has a little kid. He's in kindergarten, and so she's got time. But she's been out to Leadville to crew me, and so she's seen the carnage. She's seen what this can turn into, and so she might not ever do a ultra, but maybe a marathon.
We talked about your like 90th position on the wait list for Cocodona, but is there anything between here and there that's on your calendar that's coming up before we get off the call here?
No, not really. I probably need to figure that out. I want to do something about across the years. That's tough for me though, because we take our kids, and last year those 2 little ones ran like 20 miles and 23 miles in the 6-hour race. And then I was in the middle of running my 100-mile when Nick started his last person standing, which he was going to self-crew. And like I told you this, as soon as I saw what it was and how, Nick, I'm sorry, but I felt like you were unprepared. Like you didn't have like all of his stuff like in the hanging sacks like everyone else did. And we're like however many feet away from the aid station. And I'm doing the math and I'm like, okay, later on in the race, like how's the man going to get the broth from the aid station if he's only giving himself 1 to 2 minutes in between laps when he might also need to like change his socks and change his shoes. So anyways, I quit at mile 80 of my 100 to jump in and crew him. And I wanted to. It was so much fun. And I really just wanted to support him and be there. So all that said, I'm not sure what I'll run there, but something.
Good.
We'll see.
I'll again, I'll be there as well.
I have a funny Hard Rock story though.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's go funny Hard Rock story.
I haven't talked to my coach about this. So I'm with Dale at the conference, Dale Garland, right? Everyone that knows Dale.
He was on the podcast as well a while ago. Yeah. I can't remember what episode, but it was just before Hard Rock.
Pre-me and Simon, so you can go back and listen to that. So I'm with Dale and we're taking bets on something. And he's like, how many emails do you think I'm going to get tomorrow? Because the deadline to register for Hard Rock and get on the wait list was midnight that night. And it's like 9 p.m. or something. I don't know what time it was. And we're just in our networking thing after the conference. And he's like, how many emails do you think I'll get tomorrow from people that forgot to submit their entry for Hard Rock? And we're all betting, and I bet 6, and you know, he thinks it's 2, and someone else bets 3.
I bet it's 16.
Well, I was thinking it was gonna be higher.
Without hearing your story, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm like, I bet it's 6, and I think he says, speaking of which, I haven't seen your entry come across. And I'm like, Dale, I can't enter. I didn't run a qualifier this year. And he's like, okay, well, you ran Cruel Jewel in 2024, and it's 2 years. So yes, you have a qualifier. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, well, I'm the run director, and I'm pretty sure, yes, you still have a qualifier. And I was like, okay. So I took my phone out and I registered for Hard Rock, like
for the lottery,
right there,
for the
lottery, right? For the lottery, because everyone has to enter the lottery. And I'm like, all right, it's there. But it was just pretty funny because he's like, if we wouldn't have had this conversation, probably sometime tomorrow morning, you would have realized that you still were eligible to enter the lottery. And then you would have been one of the people emailing me saying, whoops, didn't get my lottery entry in. But I won the bet. The next day, at the end of the next day, he had 6 emails from people that had forgotten to enter the lottery. Do you
know if he let him in? Or was he hard-nosed about it?
I didn't ask him. He was telling me some of the reasons why people had submitted, and those were pretty entertaining. I won't share them, but there were a couple of really funny ones. I don't know.
Because there was state cross-country here in mountain bike high school state cross-country race here in Glenwood Springs, the town that I live in. And my friends from Colorado Springs, Ryan, who's in the movie, ran Run Rabbit Run this year successfully in order to have a Hard Rock qualifier. And on Saturday night, we had to tell him that he missed the deadline to register, which was Friday night. The deadline was the night before.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And he only ran Run Rabbit Run to apply for, but he didn't know when the lottery was. He didn't know anything about it. And of course, we're at a barbecue, and Mark and Leanne were there because Mark and Leanne live in the same town as me. So everyone from the movie's there. We're all talking about the documentary, and we're like, "Oh, Leanne asked me if I applied, and I said I don't have a qualifier, and I don't even have one that's a 2-year-old qualifier, so I didn't actually have one at all." But we asked Ryan, and he did not apply, and he couldn't believe he missed it, and he sort of blamed us for not telling him to.
So if I would have texted you when we were having this conversation and been like, hey, now that we're having this talk, have you reminded anyone that you know? Maybe it would have saved
it would have been Ryan, for sure, because the rest of us. Leanne has a ticket in, or has reapplied, I guess. I don't know how many tickets she has. So is this your first application?
Second.
Okay, so you'll have 4 or 2 tickets. No, it's 4 or 2. I think it's 2.
I don't know.
I think it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and up.
Okay. Yeah, and then you get volunteer credits, and I volunteered this past year.
Yeah. So you get an extra ticket for that.
I don't think
it's just one ticket.
I think he said you have to volunteer 2 or 3 times before you actually get a ticket from volunteering. It's not a one-to-one. So I get
swept. Here's me dating myself, Mandy. In 2013, I swept 30 miles of the course from Telluride to the finish, and it was great. It was spectacular. It was a good time. I was really there for the experience and just to get out there in the mountains and the San Juans. And it was early in my own career of ultra running, so 2013. But I got 1 ticket for that sweep back in the day.
So that's back when you could trade 1-to-1.
1-to-1, yeah.
Before it was so popular.
Yep. So I'm dating myself. I'm old.
Yeah.
What were you doing in
okay.
2013?
Actually, that's when we started running. That's the year that we went to Boston. Well, that's the year that I really consider myself starting to run. Harder was my oldest was just born in 2012. So 2013, I ran my first full marathon at the Denver Rock and Roll in 2013, and we went to Boston Marathon.
Nice.
2013. Yeah.
Cool.
I was not thinking about ultra. I was like, marathon? Ooh. Have I told you a story about an 80-year-old beating me and Nick made fun of me at my first marathon? That's what I was doing.
I noticed since the last episode that we have one less follower on YouTube, and I think it's Nick. I think Nick quit us. I'm just teasing. I don't know.
I give him so much crap on here. But
well,
he's crushing it.
We do have Nick is crushing it. He's going to crush this last person standing coming up over the years, I guess, across the years. But we do have some exciting guests coming up. It's not going to be Mandy and I talking all the time and boring you, but thanks for tuning in today. We do have some really great guests. We got some finishers of Moab that we want to talk to, some higher placing finishers at Moab. Mandy's got some special guests as well in the queue. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, they're going to give us something to talk about.
Oh my gosh. That's like a bad dad joke.
I am full of them. I think that's all I did at the conference
all right,
last week.
So Mandy's guest is going to give us something to taco about.
Taco about. I'm going to give you a hint. Taco and Denver.
Taco about.
That's all I have to say. Yeah, and then bad dad jokes. If you haven't gone to Instagram and watched my latest reel, please do so. If you have kids in your house and they're doing the 6-7 thing, or if they did it and they're gonna get mad at you for like even playing a video, we had a lot of fun at the conference with 6-7. So there's my selfish plug of something to watch.
You know, when those trends like the 6-7 and those things like hit mom level, they like just instantly tank right afterwards. Like the kids don't want anything to do with it anymore. So I think we're burning the kids out on it. They're like over it now. Which is good because it was annoying.
That was kind of the point. Like I was talking to Alex, who does social media for Colfax Marathon, and he's like, my daughter is going to be so mad at me for this. And I was like, yes, do it. And so as soon as we posted it and did a collab and shared it, she texted him and was like, OMG dad, I am so embarrassed. And we're like, yes, we are winning. We are crashing these trends. Maybe that's what we just start doing. Like if our kids do something we don't like, let's just take it and run with it, and maybe they'll stop doing it.
Just show them how annoying it is.
Yeah, basically.
That's a thought. Well,
right,
thanks, Mandy. Thanks for catching up. Man, it's a nice day back there behind you. You got the mountains back there. A little breeze going. Oh, is that the horse pasture you were running through on your intervals on your way back in today?
Yeah, that was it.
I thought so.
Yeah, some horses back there. Yeah, we get lovely views of the mountains here. Long's Peak right behind me.
I've done Long's. Keyhole route.
Yeah, it's scary. Before winter comes, so we'll enjoy it while we can.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you soon, and we'll have a new episode up next week. Take care.
Bye.